What does it really mean when the Pentagon quietly demands faster missile production, while images surface of American soldiers rapidly loading rockets onto Apache helicopters near a region already on edge? Is this simply logistical preparation for global challenges? Or is it a subtle signal that a major confrontation in Latin America could be closer than we think? The answer, as always, is layered, and the implications reach far beyond Venezuela. Welcome back to Novastra Defense, the channel where we dive deep into the realities of modern weapon systems, military strategy, and the shifting balance of power. Our mission is not to glorify conflict, but to examine how tools of war reveal the policies, priorities, and choices of nations. Today's focus takes us into a tense moment: the acceleration of U.S. missile production, the deployment of the Apache fleet, and the shadow it casts over Venezuela's growing state of alert. First, let's set the stage. Recent reports show U.S. soldiers working around the clock, loading and reloading ammunition onto AH-64 Apache helicopters. These images carry more weight than they first appear. For Venezuela, already on high alert due to regional instability and its uneasy relationship with Washington, such activity looks less like routine maintenance and more like preparation for something greater. And when combined with official Pentagon statements about expanding missile production contracts, the timing seems anything but accidental. In fact, the U.S. Department of Defense, alongside defense contractors like Lockheed Martin, has pushed for increased manufacturing of precision missiles, notably the AGM-114 Hellfire and its successor, the Joint Air-to-Ground Missile, or JAGM. These are not just numbers on a production line. Each missile represents an evolution in precision, flexibility, and battlefield control. But why now? Is it only about global demand from multiple theaters of operation, or is there an urgency tied directly to potential flashpoints in regions like Latin America? To understand the weight of this buildup, we need to examine the weapons themselves. The AGM-114 Hellfire, long the staple of Apache operations, has proven its value in both anti-armor roles and against fortified positions. With ranges extending several kilometers, guidance systems designed for pinpoint accuracy, and a cost that reflects both sophistication and reliability, the Hellfire remains a backbone of U.S. aerial strike capability. Yet technology does not stand still. Enter the JAGM, designed to replace the Hellfire with enhanced seeker technology that combines semi-active laser guidance with millimeter-wave radar. In plain terms, it means a missile that is less vulnerable to countermeasures, more reliable in poor weather, and versatile against moving or concealed targets. Mounted on the AH-64, these missiles transform the helicopter from a support platform into a strategic asset capable of shaping the battlefield with precision. But every action invites a reaction. If Washington speeds up missile output, what could Moscow and Caracas do in response? Venezuela, with its long-standing defense cooperation with Russia, has already received air defense systems and could, in theory, reinforce its arsenal with platforms like the Mi-28 Havoc or the Ka-52 Alligator. These helicopters, while formidable in their own right, bring different strengths and weaknesses to the table compared to the Apache. The Mi-28, for example, boasts heavy armor and a fearsome cannon, but its electronic suite has often been viewed as less advanced than its Western counterpart. The Ka-52, with its coaxial rotors and impressive agility, offers unique advantages in maneuverability, but still faces limitations when it comes to the sophistication of long-range precision strike capabilities. And then, there are the defensive systems, surface-to-air missiles and coastal defense systems that could, at least on paper, complicate any outside military pressure. Here lies the delicate balance. While the U.S. emphasizes precision, night-day operations, and technological integration, a Venezuela backed by Russian equipment would rely on layered defenses, survivability, and deterrence. It is less about who has the superior helicopter and more about whether either side can impose enough risk to dissuade the other from escalation. And this is where strategy moves beyond hardware into the realm of politics. Let's pause and consider a question. When missile production accelerates, is it really about preparing for war or about shaping negotiations by showing readiness? A viewer might see assembly lines churning out more JAGMs as a simple supply adjustment, but in the language of power it sends a clear message. The US is willing to bear the cost of preparation, which in turn forces others to weigh their responses carefully. In this sense, weapons are not only tools of combat, they are instruments of policy. The consequences stretch further than missiles or helicopters. Increased missile stockpiles lower the threshold for potential operations because they reduce the logistical concerns that normally restrain military decision-makers. In other words, having more precision weapons available makes it easier for leaders to contemplate scenarios that once felt prohibitively costly. This does not mean war is inevitable, but it does mean the political calculus changes. A confrontation that once seemed unlikely becomes slightly less unthinkable. Yet here lies the paradox. Preparation can both deter and provoke. For Venezuela, the sight of Apaches armed with Hellfires is a reminder of vulnerability. For Washington, boosting missile production is a safeguard against multiple global risks. For Moscow, observing this buildup near an ally might be viewed as a challenge to its influence. And for the rest of the world, it is a signal that even regions once considered peripheral to great power competition are now arenas of strategic importance. So what does it all add up to? The speed of missile production is not just about filling stockpiles. It is about shaping the political space in which decisions are made. It is about readiness, deterrence, and signaling. The real risk is not that weapons like the Hellfire or JAGM exist, but that their availability changes how leaders think about using them. This is where the boundary between preparation and escalation blurs, and where diplomacy becomes as critical as technology. In the end, the story of Apaches, Hellfires, and production lines is not just about hardware. It is about choices. Nations prepare because they fear, they deter because they anticipate, and they escalate because sometimes the line between demonstration and confrontation becomes too thin. The question we leave you with is this: does faster missile production mean greater security, or does it simply bring the world one step closer to a dangerous threshold? At Novastra Defense, we aim to provide clarity in the fog of speculation. What you've heard today is not a call for conflict, but an invitation to understand the forces that shape it. If you found this exploration valuable, share your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe this buildup is more about deterrence or preparation for something larger? Don't forget to subscribe for future videos, where we continue to investigate the tools, strategies, and decisions that define global security. And remember, while weapons may be built for war, our goal is to build awareness.